Hello, Grey Couch family. You are in for a treat. We have some August guests here. This is August. Yes, I got it. August guests in August. And August guests in August, and we've known them for a while. I wouldn't let them introduce themselves in a minute, but very, very authentic and just real couple, as real as it gets. No pretenses here. That's what we love about them, and that's why we've stayed friends for such a long time. As always, I am Stanley.
And I'm Osito. And
you are on the Grey Couch. And on the Grey Couch, we say that life is not black or white, but many shades of grey. And we get to explore those shades together for better individuals and better marriages.
Hello, Grey Couch family. My name is Olu Benga. If you're from Nigeria, you know me as Benga. Here in Canada, they know me as Olu. And this is my beautiful wife.
Obi Afowowes, and my full name is Obiagili.
So, tell our viewers, how long have you guys been married? And how long?
About 16 years.
16.
About 16 years now, yeah.
16, yeah.
And how long did you guys know each other before you got married?
A year.
There's always a story. How did you guys meet and get married?
And I want to say something about that, because if you hear their names and people always ask me, like, how do you know where people are from Nigeria? And I say it's from their names, like you can just tell. So Benga is, Yoruba, Obiageli is Igbo. Those are two very different tribes. So let's hear the story. Let's hear the story of how these two different tribes together.
Okay, let me go. You should actually go.
I should go first.
Okay. Run after me.
So what happened was, I was a particular stage in my life, like I was just fed up of the relationship game, because I had few friends that I was thinking, when I'm ready, I'm going to get married to one of these guys. But at the end of the day, I got friend zoned. So I just got fed up. As a believer, you just want to go into a relationship and just get married, right? But it didn't happen that way. So at that stage of my life, I just felt like, it seems like maybe God doesn't, it's not yet time for me and everything. So I forgot all about it. Now, I was working in a bank back in Nigeria then. And so the bank was having an initial public offer. They were going to the market to sell their stocks. So I kept seeing this particular name, top 3 for months. I was now wondering, who is this Obiageli Afowowes? Obiageli.
I like it.
Obiageli, I kept seeing the name. So I was just kind of curious. Honestly, I just was curious, like, who is this person? Like, she's just kicking it out of the park, So one day, because I lived in, I was working in Mina, and she was working in Abuja. And it's just, I think it's a drive of like 1.5 hours. So I decided one of the weekends I went to Abuja just to see some of my friends in the same branch where she was sitting. Well, I think I strategically planned it to just visit that branch because I had friends there. Of course, I didn't know how she looked. So I just wanted to just get to know this sales performer and everything. So I got there that day. I was talking with some of my friends, and at a distance, I just saw that lady, pretty lady. She was dead. She was looking good, dressed good. I was like, okay, who is this lady? So I asked one of my friends there, like, who is that lady sitting over there? And the way she was dressed, she was looking responsible. I felt like it was a married woman. So I just was curious, right? So I asked the guy, when he mentioned the name, I said, wait a minute. Is that not the Obiageli that is the top 3 in the bank? He said, yeah, she's the one. I said, oh, okay. And I said, she's married, right? The guy just said, no, she's not married, she's single. When he said she was single, my brain just started, walking next to okay, pretty girl, performer, single, okay. But, because I'm usually the shy type, so of course that day I didn't go up to her, introduce myself. I just looked at her from afar and I nodded. I said, okay. So when I went back to my branch the next day, I just went on chat and I just chatted her up like, hey, hi Obi, my name is Olu. I mean, you've been the top 3 salesperson. And I was just curious, like, how are you doing it? Just to, get an opportunity to start chatting with her. And that's how we started chatting. And before you know it, we got really, really, really close, and the relationship birthed from there. And eventually, she decided to marry me.
Oh.
Maybe before we get there, maybe I should let you know about the part of the parents. Okay, like what he said earlier on, I'm from the southwest part of Nigeria. She's from the southeast. It's like oil and water, it doesn't mix, okay? And my parents had already told me that I should never, when you're joking, you always know when somebody's serious. My mom had said over time, like, you can't, definitely you can't marry somebody from the southeast. My dad had also mentioned it, that don't even think about it. I might say, well, what if God does it? Like, what are you going to do? So I said, no, it's not going to happen. So I just kept quiet. Now, the day I was going to introduce her to my parents, the good thing was that she came from, so part of her history, she lived in the Southwest.
Yeah.
So she had a very great idea of the culture, okay? So I just told her, I said, when you come, that normal thing you do, how Yorubas, how they greet each other. Like if you see someone that is older, you kneel down. If you're a guy, you prostrate. And she was very good. So the first time she met my parents, she just went on her knees. It was my mom, okay. First, okay. So immediately I was introducing them and say, oh, this is my friend, Obi. Did I even mention your name first?
I think so.
Okay, probably, okay. So I introduced her and she just knelt down for my mom. Oh, that was it. So my mom just hugged her. I was like, they just started chatting. And when I knew my mom was really the serious part. Like if she's able to get my mom, we're good. So she got my mom. My mom liked it. They started speaking Yoruba. And my mom was surprised. Then when I introduced her to my dad as well, she knelt down.
I think your dad did not understand that never will he ever bring.
Oh yeah. My dad was saying never. But I didn't take my dad seriously because I knew if my mom was on my side, that was good. Yes.
I think we went for your cousin's wedding. So they invited me over. The mom now said I should come for the wedding, the cousin's wedding. I think I went with you.
Okay.
That was when I met your dad. Okay. And when I came in, I just greeted him. I just knelt down and greeted him. Just say, wow, just stand up, just talk to me. I think before I left, next day was like, when are we planning the wedding?
Checkmate. Checkmate.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Such a wonderful story.
I mean, my mom, I'm like, your son has not proposed to me yet, so I don't even know what wedding you're talking about.
But did it help that you could speak Yoruba, you think? Maybe?
Yes, yeah, it was.
It did.
And on my own side, so my mom was just the same thing with us too. So my mom liked being Gatsu right away. So then it was because my dad is late. So it was my dad's uncles, our brothers and sisters. Like never ever would it ever happen. Like if my daddy was alive, would he have ever allowed me to go marry someone that was not Igbo? So that one became a problem. And for me, I just told them, so my mom raised me without anybody, right? So I said, if my mom is okay, I'm okay. Anybody can just, be on there as well if they don't want to be a part of it. And that was just it for us. So immediately my mom accepted, we're good.
Wonderful. What's the value of parental consent and support and family support, right? Or, non-support. Yeah. Okay. So speaking of languages, I guess it takes us to the first part of one of the C's that we normally talk about on the Grey Couch, which is the concept of communication. And so a lot of people want the success that comes with marriage, but not the sacrifice, right? So what are some of the challenges that you've had to overcome in your communication with each other? And it would be nice if you could give us some examples, right? I always say, we come in speaking different languages, not languages of ethnicity, but just the language of the mind, right? So tell us maybe what challenges you've had to overcome. 16 years is a long time, right? So congratulations on that very much. So tell us, communication-wise.
I think mine was, the biggest one for me was eating together, actually. So because I know then, when we for my parents, I saw them growing up, they eat together in the same plate, even though it's like, when we have our swallows, right? So, but when I came in, I know Olu would like to eat separately in his own plate, and especially when we have those draw soap, it tells me that no, he wouldn't want to just eat the same plate. And I'm like, what are you talking about? We are husband and wife. We should be able to eat in the same plate and do things. That's how I was raised, and that's what I So, and then it was a challenge for him. It was a big one for him then. So we just had to come. Okay, I said, okay, see. I know where you come from. Maybe it wasn't it's not happening there, You understand? But we have to now define our own marriage, right? And see what's going to work and what's not going to work. It wasn't easy, to be honest with you. But then that communication there too, right? So I just had to voice it out because I didn't just want to keep it inside of how I felt or, yeah. So I just let him know. And I think, did it change at all?
I think I did a little.
I'm looking at you. Like, tell me, what was the thing? Because this is a thing actually. Like, some people do not like you touching their food. Like, even now I can see it among like my own, sons, and some others are like, whatever. So what was it? Was it something from home or just like from school, boarding school?
No, I think for me it's just like my parents. They never ate from the same plate, right? Everybody had their own plate. Of course, we all sit on the table. So for me, that was what I knew. Like that was what was normal to me. But for her, it was different, right? Because that's not the only one. Like there are other things that, based on how we were raised, it's so different. And when she said it, then I was like, I mean, you know how I eat. Like I want to eat a lot. We can't. There's a limit to how much you put on the plate to share. So I was like, why would you put, like, this is punishment. Like, there's no way I'm gonna be satisfied with this meal we're going to share with this.
How much the food, isn't it?
Yeah, shut his ration. My guy,
my ration. But when she said it, I felt like thinking back now, it's not a big deal. There are some compromises you make that you think like, nah, it's not going to happen. But for me, it wasn't really a big deal. Like if today we're going to eat and she wants that to happen, I have no issues with that.
I have a similar story. When we first met, not met, but when we got married, she said then about showering together. And coming from boarding school that, like 3 seconds, how do you want to shower? But hey, I mean, you just got married. I said, I think when you tried to see your parents or you saw your sister, but I was like, okay, hey, I mean, and then we just got married, and hey, I was like, okay, if the person wants to shower, who am I to stand in the way of progress? So I went from 30-second shower to long, and even now, but I have to say, resistance at first. You're almost afraid. You're like, what's going on around here? Everything is like the ground is moving around you, but you just trust the person. This person's not trying to do me in. So I've been doing it my way the whole time. Let me try your way. If it doesn't work, we can always come back and try the other person's way.
Yeah.
Can you laughing? Because I went to boarding school. I leave this person in the shower and I go my way. Like, so don't answer him. When you get long shower, you think it's me keeping him.
I've changed.
I leave him like
changed. I've changed. I've changed.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So now, happy couple, we're still on communication. Happy couples speak sign languages. They have cues and signs to show that everything is okay. Do you have this between yourselves? So like for us, for instance, like when we go somewhere, we normally just like depending on where the place is, you have like ETA. ETA. Like no matter where you're seated there, you just look at each other, you're just like,
it's time to go.
So do you have those kinds of, signs and things?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We have the eye look, like like maybe I'm saying something, especially when I'm saying, me, I joke a lot, at times, and I don't know at times if it's a joke that is okay with, especially if it has to do with her.
Yeah.
So usually when I'm talking and I'm, talking and I look at her, there's that look. You won't notice, like it's not a look any neutral person would notice. But when I see that look, I know that I'm overstepping my bounds. So I just quickly correct myself and I bring myself back to her. It's not that look, there's a look. Yeah.
Okay, so what about Yobi? Is there something that you get from him too?
Yeah, the same thing too as well. So especially maybe when we are in the garden and he feels I always talk a lot. So, and maybe when I'm saying something and I'm getting too long. Either it just touches me or it just looks at me like, you are talking too much.
Let's go.
Yeah, then
Yeah.
I quickly round up immediately.
Yeah. I like that because it's interesting because that's the thing we're saying, like sign language, because there are some people that will do that and it'll cause fights. Like you're like, are you telling me to be quiet? Like why kind of so back and forth. But that thing is like shared understanding, where you just okay, the person is trying to tell me something and you just quickly adjust. You can always talk about it later, but right there, that adjust to do it because it's like a shared language. Okay?
Yeah.
Or even when we're even outside, so sometimes maybe I'm presenting something, but I just want to make sure that I'm still doing the right thing, I'm on the right track. I just look at his face and it gives me that look of okay.
That's nice.
Yeah, thanks for that. We're going on to the second C, coins, money. And what was the money talk in your family of origin growing up? And how did that either help or hinder your money talk? And by money talk, some people, you have to have all the money and it's all about money. Some other people, you didn't have much, so you had to count the pennies and stuff like that. And I know that a lot of times we bring that with us into the marriage. And very rarely, the two people have the same money talk in the family. So it's a lot of adjusting, Someone says, I needed, if you're going to buy something more than $50 or whatever, we need to check in. I said, why am I checking in? I'm the one making all the money. I should be able to, do what I want to do and then continue from there.
And I think it becomes more pertinent because we're immigrants.
Yeah, that's true.
We're in a different country. Like you both said you were working, like at the beginning you said you were working in a bank, right? So that means you're used to a certain standard of living, used to a certain lifestyle, but now you're in a different country. So how did all of that transcend to where you are today as related to money talk? Yeah.
Honestly, just like you said, just coming back from where we were before, where we are very comfortable. At least we could comfortably afford even 4 vacations in a year. So when we moved, here, where we had to start afresh, right? So it was really a little bit of I wouldn't say struggle because God was just faithful initially. Because when it came to Canada, he was at school, right? And I could only work part-time because we're in a smaller city, we're a smaller town. Then, so I could just work, So then it was basically the money we had saved in Nigeria that actually helped us then. So what that's gonna mean, right? So we just have to cut down on a lot of things. I know, like I said, God was just so faithful, just even made little enough for us. So we just passed through that stage until we got into where both of us were now working, and we moved to another city. So that one had to do. So we actually do what we just to do our own budgeting as well. So when we started earning income, both of us started earning income here. We had to say, okay, let's see how we're gonna do. Let's see how we're going to use this money that both of us have. So we had that Excel sheet that had, we populate all those things, the feeding, then the rental, because I think we rented about from 7 months before we now bought our own home. So we had all those things, the car payment, every insurance, everything written down. And we had our Excel sheet to populate everything with the salaries and everything. So because we knew some things were coming out of different accounts, so there was no how we could do just one account for those things. So what we did was that, okay, this one is coming account, so you take over this one, take over this payment, take over this payment, take over this payment, just to even out and make sure that everybody's okay, and everybody's taking care of everything. So that was how we managed everything. So from there, insurance is coming out from his, the grocery is coming out from mine, things like that. Maybe the utility bill is coming out from my own account, just like that. So, but we have like that, the Excel sheet that just tells us where everything goes to. And then if we have the vacation, so from people that used to have 4 vacations went down to having just even 1 vacation a year. In fact, our actual biggest vacation was, I think that was last year we went for a cruise, right?
It's the first time in so many years.
Yeah, and I think we did 2019, we went to the States when we went to visit. So, so you just have to be a lot of, right, just, making everything work so it gets where we're going to. So, yeah, and I think that's just basically. So that discussion, we really have that. I think because both of us came from a finance background.
I was going to say that.
Yeah,
I think
so
that
it really helped us. Yes, it really helped us. Especially when you have seen a lot of people what finances have. We've seen finances break a lot of families. Like family just go separate just because of finances. So in fact, we even see people just because of a little subsidy. What they called the child benefits.
Child benefit.
Cause separation for people, like as little as that is, because of not having that communication, right? So you really, so we see a lot of that in the banking system, and we're like, no, this is not going to be us, So try to have conversations about it. But that doesn't mean that we still don't have issues or we are dead. Because there are some times that, absolutely, trust me, like we are not, like we still have some little fights about it, because there are some times I feel, okay, I have some extras, you understand? And I'm a business person, right? So I always like to do some other business just for money to come in. I might want to buy something, and he's like, you know what? This thing, we can't afford this thing right now. But because I want it right now, like almost like I'm an impulse buyer, right? But I want it right now, then without us not having issues. And in fact, honestly, until my mom came one day to visit us in Canada here, and I think I don't know what we wanted, and Bigger now said that we can't buy this thing now, let's just wait a little bit. And of course, trust me, I ordered it the next day, and it came. My mom looked at me the next day and said, she called me and sat me down. She said, with the way you are going, you don't want to split your marriage.
Wow.
So your husband has said, wait, this is where you should sit down with him and agree and know, okay, what's your plan? Why am I going to wait? Why you have to plan? Because by the time you start, feeling that, I can do it without you, I can do this without you, I have extra money. You don't want to get to that place where the man now relents and say, okay, you take over. Right? You take over. Is that that's what he wants for? You want to try to just take over and be the head. No problem. Just take over. Right? And to be honest with you, it got to that point really where my husband would just leave me. Anything, I just go. So it was as if I was now struggling. Like because I actually took the load myself, right? Because I just wanted to. And thank God my mom saw that, and she just drew me back. And after speaking to me, I now relaxed. So now we now need that. Okay, if I think I even have an extra to put into that thing, we still have to talk about it.
Yeah.
Right? We still have to talk about it, like, okay, we want to buy this one. Okay, let's see. You understand? How much does it cost? Is it going to affect us? How is it going to impact us? Right? And we now agree. And then I started having that patience that started coming, knowing that, okay, this is not just about you. You understand? There are two of you in question, right? You don't just have just and go. And then, honestly, it was really affecting us because he just keeps quiet, right? And doesn't talk. And I now started noticing that as if, you just want to take over. I just want to take over the leadership of the family, like, automatically just turn myself to the head of the family. And then I was getting tired of it because I started getting so tired because I was overworking myself when there's not even, you understand, because I'm the one that is doing myself. So until when I piped down, and my mom, thank God she was here, and she really helped me out with that journey, So and I now said, okay, it wasn't even as hard as I thought, right? So I actually could be patient and we still do that thing, right? And sometimes I'll now tell my husband, okay, we wanted to buy this thing. And before you know it, maybe the following, maybe a couple of weeks, you see him now buy that and others that's going to bring it back. I'm like, oh, wow. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So it saved me all those, I was just putting on unnecessary pressure on myself at that point. So until I calmed down and now said, okay, you know what? That communication is still key. Even though you have said it, you just said it. Wait and agree. Hear him while we are waiting, not to bite immediately. Right? Yeah. So I think that was where that really helped about that money, about the finance issue and all that. So right now I can say like 80%, we are almost at the same place where we are, but still there are some things.
I was trying to get there. So on the money issue thing, so we are two different individuals. Like Obi, because she's a business person and she's a woman of faith, there are some things that she can believe God for that me, I've not got to that level, So for instance, there are things like maybe you want to do projects. I'm a numbers guy.
Yeah.
I want to look at what we have right now. Yes, I'm believing God for that next one. We're not there.